Thank you all for joining us today. It has been 10 years that we have been giving out the Jerry Obi Award. We've been giving out the Jerry Obi in honor of people that have shown their dedication to the CRN and its commitment to innovation, energy, and passion and vision. It has been a pleasure to see these recipients honor Jerry Obi in this award. In 2011, we gave this award in honor of Jerry Obi to his wife, Catherine Obi. And then in 2012, the award was received by Jane DeVries.
As Sarah said, in 2012, I had the honor of receiving the Jerry Obi Award. I'm Jane DeVries, a retired reference librarian at the Grand Rapids Public Library. And it was through my position at the library that I came to be involved with the Caregiver Resource Network and had the privilege of serving on the Caregiver Appreciation Event Committee with Jerry Obi. When I think of Jerry, I think of the terms compassion and commitment. He had a deep compassion for caregivers as well as the people being cared for, and a commitment to recognize their daily struggles, along with the desire to honor and acknowledge the many sacrifices made throughout the caregiver journey. Jerry was truly an inspiring example of compassion and commitment. And now on to Cindy.
Hi, I'm Cindy Streekstra, and I received the Jerry Obi Award in 2013, and it was one of the greatest honors of my life. I am a retired nurse which focused on older adults and came to know Jerry through my work with the CRN. When I think of Jerry, I think of passion, energy, commitment, always working for the betterment of the caregivers. His personal commitment was he led a caregiver group through his parish and then plugged into the CRN and really was able to help the professional caregivers and carry on the mission of servicing caregivers. He was very dedicated, and I just remember him wanting to do new, innovative things and always asking, how can I help? Or how can we do this together? So he was very involved in moving the mission of the CRN forward, looking for innovative ways to work with the community and family as well as professional caregivers. It was an honor to have known Jerry. I feel I'm a better person and professional having known him. Thank you, Jerry. Now on to Sanford.
Hello, my name is Sandy Freed. I received the Jerry Obi Award in 2014. A little bit, I did know Jerry personally, met him at CRN meetings, and we served together on several committees. I know media marketing was one that we spent a lot of time working together. Jerry really understood the servant approach to life. He was very happy when he could be helping people, as both Jane and Cindy have mentioned. But when he got an idea that he liked, then I'm thinking right now that when in the second year of Art Prize, during our media marketing discussions, somebody came up with the idea about, hey, why don't we see about having an Art Prize exhibit? And that's all that Jerry needed to hear. And he took off with that. He enlisted help. And we had a really interesting exhibit that year. It was a lot of work for a lot of people. But once Jerry got going with something, he had a really great leadership quality, which was that passion that you heard about. He would use that to help to bring other people in, not in a manipulative way. It's just that you wanted to draw closer and to be involved with him because of his energy. It was he was a great guy to work with. I'm glad I was his friend for a number of years before his passing, and I'm very honored to have this honor to as well. And I'd like to pass it on to the next recipient, which is my friend Mike Faber.
Hi, everybody. Mike Faber. I was very privileged to receive the Jerry Obi Award in 2015. It was kind of my completion of my time with the Caregiver Resource Network. I had been involved since its inception in a leadership role in 2001 until mid-year 2015. And when I moved from Grand Rapids to the beautiful Portland, Oregon area. And I can tell you that Jerry was an exceptional human being. Jerry had a great passion, and his real great passion, I think in the later years of his life, was caregivers and addressing the needs of family caregivers and others who were involved in caring for other individuals. As a number of the past recipients have already mentioned, he was on the media marketing subcommittee, which I led. And one of the things that always struck me is Jerry always thought outside the box, and he thought big. And as a leader, I can tell you, it usually terrified me. And the reason for it is I thought, oh, does he know how much work that's going to be? You know, and so often there are people who will put forth big ideas, but they don't have a lot of follow through. That wasn't Jerry. If Jerry put forth a big idea, Jerry was the first one to roll up his sleeves, get to work, and ensure that it was successful. And it always was. He was an exceptional human being, and I was blessed to know him and to be able to work with him. And we were all blessed as a community to have him as part of the Caregiver Resource Network. So before I pass it off, I just want to say hi to all my friends back at the Caregiver Resource Network. I love and miss you all. And I'm really proud of the work you're doing, and continue the great work you're doing.
An honor to be part of this group, to be someone that's received the Jerry B. Obi Award. And I didn't know Jerry for a very long time, maybe only 2 or 3 years, but his reputation certainly preceded him. He was always someone that you knew you could trust, that always had older adults in their best interest. And like all of us that attend CRN, and all of us that are in the community that provide support and help to older adults in any capacity, we don't do this because we expect to have a lot of accolades. We do this because it's a passion. We do it because it's important to us, and we don't do it for recognition. So the fact that there's an award that represents all of the wonderful things that Jerry embodied, his compassion, his interests in providing services to folks, his kindness, his willingness to put himself out there and do whatever needed to be done to accommodate and to help someone, is certainly something that needs to be awarded. And to be the recipient of that type of a reward is a huge honor, because like I mentioned, we don't do this because we expect to get patted on the back. We do this because it's important and it's a passion to us. So it was extremely a big honor to receive this award. So I am going to turn it over now to Margaret Howard, who was the 2017 recipient of the award. Thanks.
I am the 2017 recipient of the Jerry Obi Award, and it was just such an incredible honor to be nominated and receive this award. Jerry, I knew personally and just had the good fortune and was incredibly blessed to work side by side with him for some years at the Caregiver Resource Network. And Jerry was a man that was just an absolute inspiration. He didn't show up. He didn't just show up. He came and he dug in. He had ideas. He was a man who served with humility, a man who was concerned about everyone. He was a man who believed in equity, fairness. He was concerned about the collective good of all people. And he was able to deliver that message with kindness, compassion, and he was able to get other people to listen and get on board with his work. He was truly an inspiration to all of us, and just such a blessing to the work of the Caregiver Resource Network. And, you know, one of my fondest memories of Jerry is, you know, he was so thoughtful of everyone. And, you know, when he became ill, he was hospitalized, and through his work with the Lions Club, he was just dedicated to delivering roses to people. And he was very insistent that I receive these roses as a way of him showing his thanks. And he was hospitalized at the time, and his wife Kathy was at the hospital with him, and he just insisted that that I come and receive these roses. And you know, here he was very ill, continuing to think about other people, continuing to be concerned about other people. And I just had a lovely time with he and his wife Kathy. And then ultimately, when he did have to sign on to hospice services, you know, as only Jerry would do, he called me to explain to me why he was not receiving services with the hospice that I worked for. And, you know, I was just so broken up, and I could not believe that here was Jerry once again putting the concerns of other people ahead of himself. He lived for other people. He was a man of service, humility, kindness, compassion, and all of those who knew him were just touched incredibly. He was an inspiration. He made us all better, better people and better at what we did.
Catherine Jacobs. I received the Jerry Obi Award in 2018. I am an estate planning and elder law attorney, and that position gives me the opportunity to serve older adults. I've also had the privilege of being a caregiver, which really leads me to why being part of the Caregiver Resource Network is important to me. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to meet Jerry Obi. I have had an opportunity to meet his wife, Kathy, and actually talk with her several times, where she's shared a lot about Jerry and his mission and his causes, and just his passion for both caregivers and the CRN. And so to be part of this illustrious group, as I would call them, is really quite an honor. I, as part of my role in the CRN, I'm on the marketing and media committee, and I love that. So I love that I'm sort of following in Jerry's footsteps in that regard. Knowing how caregivers are underserved, knowing how oftentimes we find caregivers at the end of their rope, the passion that the people that are represented here today and the people who are part of the Caregiver Resource Network that we have towards helping seniors, towards caregivers specifically, helping them to know what's available to them to help them is so important. And so for me to be part of a group that's carrying on a mission to help those who really need help is so important. And I'm honored to be part of this group today. And I'm going to pass it off to Dan Gauthier.
Thank you, Catherine. My name is Dan Gauthier. I received the Jerry Obi Award in 2019. I was super surprised and honored to be a recipient. I did not know Jerry. I had not met him, but I did have some meetings and chats with Kathy. And I started, after I started our agency, I started attending the CRN meetings way back when in 2012, when we were down at GRCC. The meetings were much smaller, population smaller. But I can tell you that Jerry's legacy, now that I look back, was manifested in all of those meetings. Primarily in the beginning for me, it was watching Ann and Mike conduct each meeting. Their shared passion and commitment was just a warm and fuzzy for me because I was new in the industry. And then as I came back to meeting after meeting, I was just so impressed with the population of people that continued to come to the meetings. And I have watched the organization grow. The AAA obviously is, the mission is to take care of seniors. And then the CRN, though, focuses on perhaps the best way to care for seniors, and that is to nurture the caregivers. It's such a dynamic organization, and all of the previous winners, award winners, exemplify this. And if you look today at how Anne and Sarah and Bridget run this organization, it's so vibrant and it's such a huge asset in our community. And I know that Jerry is up there looking down at this organization and smiling. So the annual award giving really is just a great opportunity to remind everybody in the group how important his legacy is and the quality of what keeps us moving ahead. It's just really dynamic. That's it for me, and I'll pass it along to Sarah for some closing remarks.
Thank you all. You're very humble in yourself and sharing all the advocacy that you have done. So a lot of your work for each of you that have been sharing, along with Margaret Howard and Joy Spahn, other award winners, you all have made a difference with the Caregiver Resource Network and have followed well in Jerry Obi's footsteps as well. So we're excited that it's been a decade of giving out this award. We have this year to share, and that will be coming right up here at the CRN meeting as well. But thank you all for sharing about the legacy of Jerry Obi and this award that we have been giving out for now a decade. Thank you all.
For sure. It's been so nice to hear from the previous award winners for the Jerry Obi Award. I can't believe we've had 10 years of this. And actually the Caregiver Resource Network is entering its 20th year next year. So it's been so nice to spend a little time remembering Jerry Obi and what he brought to the Caregiver Resource Network, and has inspired so many of us to continue on in the work and helping to care for our family caregivers and our community. So thank you, everyone.